Hello and welcome to new watch releases recap for the week of March 29th until April the 5th. Let's begin with the new Doxa Sub200t in 39mm case. Doxa Sub300 is one of the legendary diver watches. It has a very iconic shape. When you see one, you instantly recognize it to be a Doxa. They come in funky colors with funky bezel combinations. Now, the new version is introduced in a smaller case, and this one cleverly is called Sub200 because it has 200 meters of water resistance instead of 300 like the original. As I already mentioned, it comes in the smaller case, so the original comes in a 42.5mm case. It sounds large, but it's actually not very large because these Doxa watches have what's called a cushion style case, which actually wears a lot smaller. Plus the lug-to-lug distance on the original is only 45mm, so these watches already wear very well on majority of the wrists. Now these new watches come in a stainless steel case, but this time 39mm case diameter by only 41mm lug-to-lug distance. So these watches will wear very small. I think a lot of ladies can even pull off wearing a watch like this. It is also fairly slim, under 11mm in case height. The movement powering this watch is still the same Sellita SW200, which of course has 26 joules, it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it has 38 hours of power reserve. There are a total of 8 different colors. Of course, you have your bright colors, you have something a little bit more reserved. I prefer the bright colors. I think if you're getting a Doxa, might as well go all out, but if you prefer something more conservative, of course you can go that route as well. These watches are not limited editions, they will be part of a regular catalog, and they're priced at 1,550 euros on the rubber strap or 1,590 euros on the Beads of Rice bracelet. So the bracelet is only 40 euros more. It's about the same in US dollars. I think it's a great value for money and an iconic watch. Well done, Doxa. Hamilton Jazzmaster Performance Collection. This new Hamilton collection consists of 3 different lines. There is the Chrono, there is an automatic time-only watch, and there's a smaller 34mm ladies version. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the ladies one. We'll focus on the chronograph and the automatic time-only watches. So first of all, the chronograph, I actually saw one pop up on Instagram before I read the article about it. The minute I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a good looking watch. And I couldn't figure out if it's a new release or if it's one of the existing Hamilton releases because they have so many different chronographs. It's kind of hard to keep track of what's already on the market and what is new. These ones are new. It comes in 2 different dial colors. There's the blue one and this sort of gray one. I prefer the gray. I think that looks really sharp. They come in a 42mm stainless steel case, 15.2mm case thickness. It's a bit on the thicker side, but these ones are automatic chronographs powered by the H31 caliber movement, which is essentially a modified Valjoux 7753. Both versions come on the stainless steel 3-link bracelet, and they're both priced at $2,245 US dollars, which I think is a very reasonable price for the package that you get. There's also this Performer automatic time-only watch. That one comes in a 38mm case diameter. It is of course slimmer, only 11.5mm in case height. It is a time-only watch powered by the Hamilton H10 automatic movement, which is essentially a Powermatic 80, which of course has 80 hours of power reserve, 4 Hz movement. Out of the 2 different color variations, I prefer the wide dial version. Usually I don't like wide dials, but I think on this watch specifically, it looks quite sharp. These ones also come on a similar 3-link stainless steel bracelet, and both versions are priced around $1,000, $1,045 to be exact. Moonswatch Mission to Moonphace The New Moon, aka the Black Snoopy. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about a new wide dial wide case Snoopy that was announced, and it was just recently sold at Swatch stores. There were huge lineups. Apparently each Swatch store only received something like 20 or 30 watches, which they sold out right away. There's a lot of hype behind these watches, blah, blah, blah. Now, unexpectedly, kind of, there is a black version of the same Moonphace watch. It comes in the same case, it comes with the same movement, it has exactly the same style, exactly the same design, still features Snoopy, still features the Moonphace complication, still features that little Easter egg of having I can't sleep without a night light lit up every time you shine a UV light on it. All of that is still present, but this time in a black case with a black dial, which are more traditionally Moonwatch colors. I think we're all kind of getting tired of these new Moonswatch releases. There are just too many of them. I think Swatch and Omega are getting to the point where they're oversaturating the market. But with all of that being said, I think this watch here is the sharpest one. I think if people were only to get one, and if they got one of the previous ones, some might be regretting not going for this version. Now, it will be available from Swatch stores, I think April 8th. And there is a limit, one per customer, one per store, but good luck getting one. You probably have to line up. And if the white version to go anything by, each store will probably get 20 or 30 examples, and they will be sold out within the first hour or so. But worry not, this is not a limited edition. It's part of the standard catalog. If you're patient enough, you'll be able to pick one up at a standard retail price of $310. Don't overpay for this watch. I've seen the white version pop up for 2-3 times over the retail price, which is of course ridiculous. Don't pay those prices, be patient, and you'll be able to pick one of these watches up at the retail price if you want to in the future. The new Seiko 5 SNXS models. Whoa, SNXS is a tough name to say. It's a popular reference of a watch, also sometimes referred to as the Datejust killer or the Datejust alternative. You've seen these watches online pop up on eBay, on Amazon. They're a very popular reference. And back in the day, they were always powered by the 7S movement. They always had those crappy old bracelets, but they were affordable. Now, 2024, Seiko is introducing 3 new references in this lineup, but there are some negatives that I have with the watches. First, let's actually talk about some of the positives. I like all 3 dial combinations. I like the blue one, the black one, and the champagne one. I think all 3 look very sharp. The champagne one is probably the most vintage inspired, although one very popular one is missing, the gray dial version. Out of all existing models, that's probably my favorite, but judging by the new ones, the champagne is my favorite out of these 3. I also like the fact that they stay true to the original sizing. 37.5 millimeters is the case diameter. They're only 12.5 millimeters in thickness, and they feature 100 meters of water resistance. So all of that is great. What are my problems with this watch? Well, it's actually the price. These watches are priced at $400 US, which is quite a bit of money. Yes, they come with the upgraded movement. These watches are powered by the caliber 4R36 automatic movement, which is of course quite an upgrade from the 7S movement. But that's pretty much it. They still come with the Hardlex crystal, no sapphire crystal at this price point, which is very strange. The bracelet is upgraded, but they still come with the cheap pressed metal clasp. So what are you paying so much money for? Because the old versions you can still buy on eBay, on Amazon for like $130, $120 US. These ones are priced at $400. So if I were in a market for one of these watches, I'd probably just wait it out. And I'm pretty sure in the future, next year, maybe even later this year, we're probably going to start seeing these watches pop up on eBay and Amazon for around $200, $250 price point. I think at that price point, it's fair. At $400, without sapphire, with the cheap pressed metal clasp and those cheap bracelets, is just way too much money. What the hell are you thinking, Seiko? Just pure money grab. The new Doxa Spearfish dual time. Viewers of my YouTube channel know of Doxa watches very well. I reviewed almost every single model that this company offers. They're known for good value for money as well as their quality. Well, now there is a new version of the Spearfish releasing. This new one looks quite different. It is more expensive, but it comes with some cool features. From my understanding, there are 5 different dial variations. Each one is cool in its own way. There are a couple of carbon versions, and the rest are made out of titanium. And of course, the star of the show is this dial. The way the date change works looks really cool. I also like that sub-dial at the 6 o'clock position with sort of planet Earth and the second time zone there. That all looks really good. As far as the movement goes, these ones come powered by the Sellita SW300. It is of course a modified Sellita SW300 to add that second time zone module as well as 2 different date discs. For some people, this design might look a little too busy, but if you like it, I thought you would appreciate knowing that this release is happening, I think Monday. So if you're into this watch, you can go to Zelos website and check those out. And no, this is not sponsored. Zelos did not ask me to mention this watch. I just thought it was cool, so that's why it's in this video. And lastly, let's talk about the Cimier 711 Heritage Chronograph. Cimier is a Swiss watch company that went out of business for a while, and I actually didn't even know that they were back in business. Back in the early days of this YouTube channel, I actually bought one of the vintage Cimier chronographs, and that's actually why I wanted to mention this release, because I'm a big fan of these vintage looking chronographs. So back in the day, these Cimier watches were very cheap. They were affordable way to get into a chronograph. The movements were very basic, but it was sort of appreciated because back in the day, these watches were actually used for their intended purpose. They were tool watches. You actually use the chronograph almost on the daily basis. Well, now, 2024, there is a new vintage-inspired version of the Cimier called 711 Heritage. There are 3 different dial variations. The green one is a limited edition, the black one and the cream one are just standard editions, regular editions in the catalog, if you will. They come in a 35.5mm case diameter, 14.4mm case thickness, made out of stainless steel. They come with a sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, and they're powered by the variation of a Valjoux 7750. The movement is modified because, as you can tell, the 2 sub-registers are kind of at the awkward position. One of them is at the 11 o'clock position, the other one is at the 7 o'clock position. I guess that's why the name is 711, so that took some modification to achieve. And overall, the watches look very sort of vintage inspired. They almost look like vintage watches that you can just buy from eBay. And I think the pricing for these watches is also very reasonable. 2,480 Swiss francs. So that's what, 2,700 US dollars. I think that's pretty good. That sort of is in line for what a watch like this should cost. And that's it. Those were the releases that I wanted to highlight this week. Next week is Watches and Wonders. So there's probably going to be quite a few releases. I might do 2 of these videos, one midweek, one end of the week. But we'll see. We'll see if there's anything exciting that is worth making a separate video about. Or maybe I'll just do one video about everything. I guess time will tell. I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this week's releases. I, of course, always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. The only way Bond would sit through the video is if I bribe him. Good boy. He might leave in the middle of the video too. No guarantees. After the payment has been made, the dog might leave. Those are the rules.